What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Bunch of stuff to talk about today. Have a bunch of updates on some Switch games. One in particular that I've been looking forward to for a while. If you've been on the channel, you probably know what I'm talking about. Golf Story, of course. Well, we have a date, and it's sooner than you think, which is great. So let's get started. Before we talk about Golf Story, though, we're going to talk a little bit about the UK sales chart, because there's some interesting stuff happening on there. You may have already heard about this, but it turns out Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite did not do very well in the United Kingdom, and that's not, I guess, the biggest deal. Like, it's not make or break there for them. It's going to get kind of interesting, though, when Media Create sales charts comes out Wednesday, and we can kind of look down there and see exact amounts that sold, because the UK chart just gives us rankings, 1 through like 40 or so. And there's some other really games on there that are interesting because they actually outsold Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite in its debut week. So let's take a look at the charts right here. Now at the top is Destiny 2. I think that's pretty obvious. Project Cars 2, it made its debut week as well. Came in at number 2. Honestly, if Destiny 2 was not there, or if Destiny 2 was a few more weeks old, it'd be Project Cars 2 at the top. But here's where things get interesting. Go down, and we have number 5 is Pokken Tournament DX. Now, Pokken Tournament, of course, is it's a re-release, right? It's a re-release of the Wii U version. They added stuff, sure. It's portable now, great, but it's still a game that was released a little while ago, released again. And we have to look all the way down to number 12 for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It was actually outsold in its debut week by both LEGO Worlds and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which are right above it. In fact, if we go down from there, there are two other very interesting ones here on the charts. Pokemon Gold version and Pokemon Silver version. Now, if you don't know, they did release these obviously as a download on 3DS, but they also released them for brick and mortar stores, basically as a box that just has a code in it. That's right. That many people combined, apparently, those two, according to many analysts, this would have been in the top 10. So those two together, as boxes with codes in them, also outsold Marvel vs. Capcom in its debut week. And it really leaves a lot of questions right now. Questions being, what is going on here, and why is Marvel vs. Capcom so far down the chart? Really, you would expect them to be better here, right? You would expect Marvel vs. Capcom, because if you don't remember, it was really big years and years and years ago, even before Marvel vs. Capcom 3. When the second one came out, I know it came out really on the Dreamcast, and it also showed up on the PS2 and the original Xbox. It was popular. It was really popular in the Dreamcast. Again, believe it or not, it was very popular there, very popular in arcades. Even when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, a lot of people still bought it. And now we're kind of falling down to Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, to where it just did not debut well in the UK. Now we're going to see what happens when we get the MPD rankings. Where is it in the rankings on the MPDs? Where is it in Media Creates? But it's going to be interesting because they have no Xbox in Japan. So it has to rely pretty much on all PS4 sales in Japan, which tells me personally, I don't know how well it's going to sell there to that crowd. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe it comes out and it's great in Japan. But this is something that Capcom has to really take a step back and realize maybe their nickel and diming situation, where they are doing things like talking about downloadable characters, really DLC that probably could have been in the game when it came out. It didn't have a lot of characters when it first came out, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, for example. Tons of characters. Even the first one had a good bit, but I mean, that was a while ago. That was like PS1 days, right? Now we have this game come out, and it has significantly less than the second one and third one even. So now we're kind of to this point where Capcom is releasing a game that they spent a lot of time on, and they're just not getting the money back. And what's really funny is they kind of laughed off the idea originally of also developing it for the Switch. Honestly, let's be realistic here. This game's been in development for a while. It probably didn't match up with timelines or anything, so they wouldn't be able to do it anyway unless they really were willing to release it late. But if the Switch had been around and they could have put it on the Switch, I do think it would have at least helped their sales out in this case. But again, we'll see what happens when it, the next few days when it comes out in Media Creates. And then, of course, we won't know anything about NPD until next month, end of next month, really. So it's going to be interesting what happens here with Capcom. I hope they don't go, well, we tried a new game, a new sequel. I guess, we'll just do more ports, because that's kind of what Capcom's been known for recently. Port after port after port. Here's a game that they spent a lot of time on, years on, and it hasn't done well so far. Here's hoping the MPD come out and it's at least the top 3. If it's not in the top 3 in the MPDs, they're going to have to reevaluate Marvel vs. Capcom and see if it's something they really want to keep working on going forward, or if it's kind of a series they kind of put on hiatus for a little while and then focus on something else. Next up, let's talk about something that when I first saw it major nostalgia trip, right? Major nostalgia trip. I'm talking about the Xbox original, the actual Xbox One, right? The Xbox original Duke controller, because Hyperkin is bringing it back for the Xbox One. That's right. It full bulky format. And I know what you're saying. That thing was massive. People with giant hands would be able to use it. And to a degree, you're correct. But believe it or not, I loved that controller. It was, when it came out, sure it was large, but believe it or not, it fit my hands well, and I used it for Halo all the time. And of course, this was the original controller that gave way to the S-Type on the original Xbox, if any remember that one, that then eventually turned into the Xbox 360 controller, that of course is now the Xbox One, and even the Xbox One Elite controller, if you want to say that's the culmination of everything. So it really started out a really good-looking controller type that has evolved over the years. But they are bringing it back. Full form, massive bulk, and it's coming out this holiday season for the Xbox One. And they are going to stick true to form here. It's not going to have shoulder buttons. Instead, it's going to have the black and white buttons, which is awesome. And they will add the 3.5mm headphone jack to the bottom, as most of the Xbox One controllers have now. And that center part that was kind of like an Xbox Jewel, right? It basically was like a logo right there in the center of the controller. It is now an LCD screen. That's right. Whenever you turn it on, apparently it just displays the Xbox Original's kind of startup screen, where it's like, it looks like obviously the green pulsing, and then it goes into the original Xbox X. And they're talking about possibly doing other things with an LCD screen. What can they do with it? That's kind of a good question. I'm not sure what they could do with it. I'd like to see something like a map be displayed there, but it's kind of a small area. I don't know how they do that. Maybe they show the game you're playing just as a logo. Especially if you're playing like an original Xbox game that, you know, maybe a show, I don't know, Crimson Skies right there or something, kind of like how the Dreamcast did it. Either way, it is callback kind of to the Dreamcast, and of course kind of to the original Xbox that kind of came from the Dreamcast in a way, with Microsoft providing a type of Windows for the Dreamcast, Windows CE. So who knows? It could be pretty cool to see. No word on pricing or anything, or even exact date for availability. Just look for it if you're a big fan of the Duke, or if you're a big fan of getting that nice nostalgia rush from the original Xbox. Keep an eye out for it. Hyperkin's doing it this holiday season 2017 on the Xbox One. Next up, let's talk about Golf Story. Yes, Golf Story, the one that I've been waiting for a while. You guys know this, right? It's Stardew Valley mixed with golf. And it also has disc golf, apparently. It's pretty cool. From people who played it at TGS, they did have full hands-on demos, so people were playing it, saying it played great. But they kind of compared it, and I got really excited when I heard this. If you've played the game, you know what I'm talking about. They kind of compared it to Mario Golf on the Game Boy Advance. And if you've played that, it is an awesome golf game. It is, I'm not even kidding, a golf RPG done right. I know it sounds crazy. Done right though. It's awesome. In that game, you would do everything: buy clubs, level up your characters, challenge people. They also do the same thing with tennis, but man, that golf game was awesome. And now it's coming here with Stardew Valley mixed in, kind of. It looks so awesome. I love the art style. It's coming to the Switch though, September 28th. That's right, you heard me. It's Tuesday today. It will be out in 2 days on Thursday. Yes, Thursday. So Thursday it'll release, and then Friday we have the Super Nintendo Classic, we have Cuphead, FIFA. It's going to be a ridiculous stretch of like 3 or 4 days there into the weekend, and it's great. We have tons of stuff to play for the weekend, and I am so excited. Seriously guys, expect a bit of a playthrough there that day. I'm going to get it right away, and we'll start playing it, have some fun on the channel with it, because I am so excited. Looking forward to it. That's Golf Story coming September 28th. And in our final bit of news, we did get an update on Ukulele on the Switch. I know it's been really tough here because people are trying to figure out what's going on with Ukulele. We haven't heard anything about it at all, nothing. And it's weird because we're getting close to the end of the year, and we figure they need Ukulele out this year or it's just going to be too late. Well, they took to Twitter, Playtronics did, and they said, hey, look, an update. No one's really asked for it, sarcastically, of course, because that's all everyone's asked about is what is going on with this game. And they said this: we've encountered some final technical hurdles and had been waiting for the arrival of Unity 5.6 in order to fix them. Although this has now been released, it has unfortunately introduced other issues, which we are working with Unity to resolve before we could submit to Nintendo and lock in our release timeline. So there you have it. Apparently, this is just so bizarre, by the way. They were having issues with Unity, the old copy of Unity, the old version, working with the Switch with Ukulele. Very weird because we've seen other games come out with Unity, I assume on the older build, where it didn't have any problems, but of course, Ukulele is a bigger scope than, say, Ironcast, for example, right? Much bigger scope. And It's weird that the new version of Unity has now messed up the old version that they had, and they're trying to fix those issues. So issues they couldn't resolve, apparently, they needed 5.64, have been fixed, but now new issues have arisen. So this is so strange and bizarre, and this game's been out for a while now. People have played it. They've given heavy criticism to this game. It really wasn't what a lot of people were hoping it would be. I think it's still pretty fun. It's a good platformer for what it is. I think people had massive expectations for what they wanted it to be. I mean, it started as a Kickstarter, and then it kind of turned and snowballed into this, this big backed project that turned out to be, in some people's minds, a little too much like Banjo-Kazooie, but I thought it was fun. It was $40. Not bad. Would it play better as a portable? Yes. That is a great case for this game on the Switch. It would absolutely be a better portable experience. I absolutely think so. I think other people will think that as well. But now it's going to come down to, it's going to come out on the Switch. It'll of course be full price. And probably by then, some of the PS4 and Xbox One, and of course, you can go to GameStop now and get it for like $24 used because they're used copies. And of course, any other sales that happen. I just really hope they can get this game out before Thanksgiving. If it shows up in December, it is going to probably be forgotten about, and I hate to say it because there are just too many Nintendo games out. Too many games will be around. If it released in the same week as Doom, forget about it. It's gonna sell poorly, and that might reflect the Switch to a degree, but honestly, they're not producing any other masterpieces right now that really the Switch needs, other than obviously you could use the Ukulele, because why not? It's a bad time. If they could have gotten this game out months ago, they'd have been fine. But I don't know what happened here. Unfortunately, Unity is still giving some developers issues. Looks like it may have burned Playtonic a little bit here. At this point, get it out to the public so it's at least out there. Let them decide if they want to buy it. I still think there's an audience for games on the Switch because so many people just want new games on the Switch right now. But who knows what happens. If it gets out a week before Christmas, there's too many games out. People are going to spend their money on Mario Odyssey, on Xenoblade, on Doom, on Skyrim. I mean, the list just goes on right now. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see these sales when it comes out and see if people still want Ukulele on the Switch. And that's it for Newswave today, guys. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me think about any of the stuff we talked about today. Whether it is Ukulele on the Switch, are you still going to buy it? I'm very curious. If you're interested in it before when they were talking about it, because they were talking about the Switch version a while ago. Like they moved, I think, the Wii U versions up to Switch versions that long ago. Are you still thinking about buying? Is this still on your radar, or have you been like, I'll buy it on another system and I'll pass it up on the Switch right now? I'm very curious if there is still that kind of an audience for the game. Also, let me know about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, especially if you've played it. And is there an issue? Is there a reason why it's not selling well from the initial sales charts that we've seen in the UK? Is there a reason that audience would have just bypassed it completely? Because it seems odd that it would debut at number 12. Number 12, below Lego Worlds, guys. I'm not saying Lego Worlds is bad, but there's a clear difference between the two in terms of, budget and probably even content and appeal. It's very weird that we're to this point with this game. That's it for now, guys. I'll see you next time.